Thank you, Ms. Roberts. Good evening, and welcome to the Paris District High School graduation ceremony for the class of 2024. I'd like to start off by thanking the esteemed panel behind me, the teachers, staff, award donors, and community members for being here tonight and having to stare at the back of my head for the next 10 minutes. Thank you to the Sanderson Center for hosting this wonderful event and for accepting 400 Impact Club pencils as a means of payment. Thank you to the parents, grandparents, siblings and best friends for being with us on this night of accomplishment, and for driving the select few of us who still haven't gotten our driver's licenses. Sorry, Dad. And finally, we need to thank ourselves. The people in these slightly old, slightly unattractive gowns are the innovators, designers, artists, doctors, and unemployed of the next generation. This evening in these hallowed halls, we gather together to reflect on and commemorate these 4 formative years of the rest of our lives. We do not exist here alone, though, but rather with every version of ourselves that has been created through our whole academic journey. Soren Kierkegaard, a Danish philosopher, once said, "Life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards." So let's go back in time. This is my high school backpack. Before it had all the pins and keychains, it was a plain, empty backpack just waiting to be filled. Exactly 1,500 days ago, on our first day of grade 9, a group of terrified freshmen wearing either cowboy boots or Air Force Ones from Burford, St. George, Glenmorris, Drumbo, Paris, and surrounding areas converged upon PDHS, all with one thing in common. We all had a backpack. Some were enormous, filled to the brim with the newest writing utensils and a homemade lunch. Others just carried a few essential supplies. Nobody knew what was in each other's backpacks. To be honest, not even we were sure of what we were carrying. We just wanted to fit in. As we nervously tried to carry conversations with our classmates through the math breaks, walking around the track, complaining about how difficult it was to draw a Bohr-Rutherford diagram, we began to unpack our backpacks together, understanding and appreciating all the different places we were coming from and starting a journey together. I was debating making COVID a central talking point of this speech, but I sort of view COVID like our effort in the last semester of high school. We don't need to talk about it because we all know it was bad. Yes, we had online classes. Yes, it was tough. Yes, we all got quarantined at least once, thank you, Maddie Hallman. And yes, we made it through. When we weren't on the track for mass breaks, we were on the track for gas leaks. Seriously, I'm still confused as to why that happened so frequently. I mean, Taco Bell didn't open in Paris until grade 11. Other fun memories from grade 9 include reading Shakespeare, explosive science demonstrations, and debatably, gym class. We kept our backpacks close to us, partially because we were uncomfortable in our surroundings, and partially because we didn't have lockers until grade 10. Grade 11 marked the start of a change. The end of high school was finally in sight. We were also starting to take charge of things. It was our grade who reinstated the Athletics Council with the help of Mr. T and Miss Innes. Wellness Club was formed with the help of Madame G. We took over Panther Pride under Miss Edwards' watchful eye. Magic Club grew in population with expertise from Mr. White, and Impact Club materialized with the help of Mr. Winter and Miss Potter. These are just a few of the many clubs which we started or strengthened with our enthusiasm for community. After the social famine that COVID caused, high school finally started to feel like what we were told high school would feel like. Academic, applied, and locally developed were replaced by university, college, and workplace. It wasn't science anymore, it was environmental science, biology, chemistry, physics. It wasn't math anymore, it was torture. There were dances, historic football games, and the cafeteria finally opened. Regardless of whether our backpacks included a football uniform or not, we were all filled with pride when the senior Panthers clawed the St. John's Eagles out of the sky and claimed the Aubin Championship. I would argue the biggest changes happened in our senior year. At this point, we had so much more in common than just our old, shabby backpacks. We now found ourselves unified in the uneasiness of the future and the stress of impending events, grades, applications, and working to avoid being shot and eliminated from senior assassin. We all remember taking the day off school to get ready for prom, begging our parents to excuse us so we would be allowed in. We took advantage of every opportunity to have the best high school experience, including deciding that the following Friday after prom was beach day because we accidentally booked prom on the first Friday of June. We all remember the thrill of watching the Panther dunk the basketball at the pep rally. Most of us remember the excitement felt on the dance floor at the homecoming dance. Some of us remember the first show jitters of She Kills Monsters, and only 6 of us remember the excitement of buying tickets to the Neon Glow dance before it was canceled due to low ticket sales. And if those events weren't enough to make us exhausted, there was the cultural fashion show presented by Voices of Color, the intramurals and athletic banquet organized by Athletics Council, the multiple spirit weeks planned by Students Council, the Impact Club's Christmas celebration, the Walk for Wenjack hosted by the Indigenous Students Association, the first ever board-wide Magic the Gathering tournament, the Grand Pride event facilitated by Panther Pride, the city tree plants, the Ramadan celebration provided by the Muslim Students Association, the brain break supported by Wellness Club, the concerts performed by the symphonic and jazz bands, and so many more. I was going to touch on the girls rugby team advancing to Kwasa 3 years in a row, the senior tennis team winning the team championship, the senior boys basketball team progressing to Kwasa, and many more achievements in track and field, baseball, fastball, volleyball, and other sports, but I guess it's not as important as the football team. The year flew by. However, despite it being the most stressful year of our lives so far, it was also the most special. We grew closer to our teachers and built relationships with them. The biggest issue they had with us wasn't our attitudes, it was us parking in our spots. And tardiness. I mean, if we had to pay $1 for every time we were late to class, the new track would have been finished by March. Without realizing it, we were growing up. Some people didn't bring their backpacks into school anymore because they already had what they needed. At the same time, others of us began to find the weight of our backpacks too heavy to carry. My backpack started to break. Thankfully, the guidance department had a rather robust sewing kit, and every time one of you complimented my outfit or my Crocs, laughed at my jokes, or waved in the hallway, my backpack felt lighter. It's been 3 months since we left the library foyer, Sharpied names tattooed on our t-shirts, tears streaming down our faces, and sweat drenching our backs since it was so hot that day. Ever since that moment, life has looked different. This is the backpack I carry with me now. I don't have any pins or badges on it to scream out my self-expression, and it isn't unusually small or spectacularly colorful. I know who I am on the inside. I know what I've carried and released, and I understand that I am more than what's on the outside. Over time, backpacks will turn into briefcases. Pencil cases will become key cards, and pins and keychains will appear as bullet points on our resumes. Even though we probably won't use the backpacks we carried over our shoulders in high school for the rest of our lives, we will all carry the memory of Miss Edwards every time someone genuinely asks us how we are. We will eat new breakfasts, but always carry a taste for plastic-wrapped muffins and cardboard packaged hash browns, and of course, Mr. Chivers' brownies. We will always carry the memory of the most perfect night of our lives every time we put on a fancy gown or a dapper suit. We will make new acquaintances, but we'll always carry the awkwardness of a first grade 9 conversation. We will laugh when something goes wrong because we carry the heartbreak of 98% when we expected 100. We'll find new mentors and role models, but we'll always carry the heart-bursting contentment of that one teacher. For most, it was Mr. Murchie and his approval. When this evening ends, we will leave the Sanderson Center and go in 174 different directions towards 174 different futures with 174 billion possible outcomes. However, we will all leave with one identical piece: the memories made and time spent together at PDHS. And those memories will be taken to all parts of the globe as we continue to figure out who we are and how we can change lives, leave lasting legacies, impact the world, or just afford a house. Thank you for listening and sharing the past 4 years with me. I look forward to meeting up with you again. You just have to be the one that drives. Enjoy your night.